Live from the NJ.com studio comes the only weekly TV podcast you'll need, where a lofty critic squares off with an obsessed superfan on everything from highbrow drama to lowbrow reality. The cocktail shaker is ready. Prepare for your TV hangover. Now, your hosts, Vicki Hyman and Erin Medley.
Hello and welcome to TV Hangover. I am your host, Erin Medley, and I'm here with Vicki Hyman.
Hey, everybody.
Our theme song, I love it so much.
She's chair dancing.
I do chair dance to the theme song every single time. Don't forget to follow us on social media at TV Hangover Show, at E_meds, and at Vicki High, VICKIHY.
Don't get it twisted.
Don't get it twisted. That's so Jersey. We also have an email address. It's tvhangovershow at NJ@advancedmedia.com. Since none of you have emailed us yet, I'm going to assume it's just too long.
That must be it.
It must be it. But we're on Twitter, so tweet us. Vicki, I know that last week was Thanksgiving, and we were both...
Oh, I was right
celebrating.
Here, yeah, okay.
Well, I was in Vegas.
Okay.
My celebration was a little different. I had Thai food for Thanksgiving, and it was really good. But more importantly, I think we need to go back to a week before Thanksgiving.
Okay, my head is all scrambled. What do we have to discuss?
We have to discuss...
I've forgotten everything before Thanksgiving.
We have to discuss Shondaland.
Okay.
And the crazy fall finales. So on Scandal, we won't talk about...
We're skipping Grey's Anatomy.
We're skipping Grey's Anatomy
because
you don't watch it. And it was like... I mean, I love Grey's Anatomy, but I don't think it was that shocking. But on Scandal...
I do keep up with Scandal, so major news. Actually, how I found out about it was that because... excuse me. Because I'm a TV critic, like right after Scandal ended, even though I wasn't watching it, I got an email from Planned Parenthood talking about how great the episode was. And I'm like, what just happened on Scandal?
Yes. So for those of you that don't know, we find out that Olivia has an abortion. She aborted the president's baby.
Yeah, well, it had to be the president's baby, right? It wasn't Jake's baby.
With Jake in a while, yeah. So that was like the shocker in that episode.
That's pretty shocking.
I mean, I guess.
I think, but also apparently, and I didn't watch it, apparently it was really shocking, was that it wasn't like exactly matter of fact, but it wasn't like billed as very special episode of Scandal. It was like, this happens.
You had no idea that this was coming. Well, to go back, the whole episode was about Millie filibustering.
Yes.
About Mellie. Did I say Millie?
It's a Millie.
Oh, jeez. It's been a long break. Mellie was filibustering, and she was trying to prevent them from passing some sort of legislation
would basically defund Planned
that would
Parenthood,
defund
even though
Planned
she's a
Parenthood.
Republican.
Even though she's a Republican, but she is a woman first.
Yes, she is.
And so that was really the whole episode. And then you get to like the last 15 minutes. You see Olivia with her Secret Service men go to what I guess is a clinic, which seems a little strange. I mean, I didn't think Olivia would go to Planned Parenthood to have an abortion.
It didn't
say it, but you can just assume they were trying to make the parallel. And she had the abortion, and you see her like on the table. The doctor gets the suction hose, and it was like I was surprised that was on network television.
Was it a lot of detail?
It wasn't a lot of detail, but it was more detail than I expected. And so she has the abortion, and Fitz. I don't think Fitz knows. She did go back to the White House and she was acting a little strange. But she found Mellie's hooch that she hid a few weeks ago and drank that up. So that's what happened on Scandal.
Well, I can just say something that's interesting about Scandal, because I've always had a problem with Scandal's treatment of children in general. And so if this becomes a plot point where Fit is like, you aborted my baby, it's like you never gave a hoot about any of your children.
About the three children that you already had.
Even after the one that died, basically. I mean, it was like, okay, he died. It was sort of a plot point going forward, and then that was it.
And that was
it. He and Mellie had a baby during the run of the show. Where is this baby?
This baby has disappeared. Oh no, we saw the baby we saw the baby this season. He was playing hide and seek in like the blue room or something. I don't know. And then on How to Get Away with Murder, we finally found out who shot Annalise. Like, oh my gosh, talk about dragging something on. And it was Vicki.
Wes.
Wes shot Annalise.
And meaning to kill her.
Absolutely. And we also found out...
The interesting thing was that she was trying to, I guess, arrange the scene and wanted to get shot in the leg. I can't even remember exactly why.
Because the frat boy dude, whatever his name is, had...
Asher.
Yes. Murdered the prosecutor by running her over with his car. Yes. And then they brought her dead body to the mansion of their two clients who were accused of murdering their step-parents. And the one... girl is cahooting with her half brother or something.
I love that she made cahooting of her. That's awesome. I'm going to use that in every single day. Anyway,
instead of in cahoots,
yes,
whatever. Cahooting, new word going to your on TV Hangover. And so it's like this crazy scenario, and she wants to be shot so she can set the scene for whatever to get them how to get away with murder, basically. And she says something to Wes that like triggers him. I think what did she say to him?
I can't remember.
Oh, she said that Rebecca was dead. Duh.
Oh yes,
that's what it was.
Yes,
she said Rebecca was dead,
which he had to have known by this point. But okay,
like seriously, he had to have known, and then he shot her. And then we find out because we all, well, not all of us, but a lot of people thought that Wes was Annalise's son.
Yes,
we find out that is not the case, but that she had some involvement with his mother's death,
because we see her behind a one of those
two-way
mirrors while Wes is in a police interrogation room when he's like 12 or something,
right, with his real name, which I can't recall right now because that was 2 weeks ago. So those are the two shocking.
Yeah, I mean it's incredibly convoluted, and I think that I love Viola Davis. It was over the top, that last scene where she's basically begging everybody to shoot her.
Right.
Like rolling my eyes kind of
so
thing.
Over it.
Yeah, I mean it's. I'm interested to see where it goes. I'm
Are
keeping
you,
an open mind. I am.
Okay.
I'm going to keep watching it.
Well, I'm going to keep watching it too.
And how many more? It doesn't have that many more episodes. It's going to wrap up in like February, March, right?
Oh, is it still doing like the
season.
13 or 18?
Yeah, I don't
or something?
think it's a full season.
Well, good, because I don't think it could sustain a full season at this point. So, Vicki, over in TV news, coming off of a big box office weekend for Creed, Variety reports that Sylvester Stallone has a Rambo reboot TV series in the works at Fox entitled Rambo New Blood.
As opposed to First Blood.
As opposed to
or Old Blood. Or Stale Blood.
What's funny about this... Just keep going. What's funny about this is that the show will explore the relationship between the former Green Beret and his son JR, an ex-Navy SEAL, but there was never any mention of John Rambo having children in any of the 4 Rambo films.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the first 2. I didn't watch the 3rd and 4th. I'm not really up on my Rambo-ness, although I did watch the first 2.
I've never seen Rambo.
Really?
No, absolutely
I mean, how could you get through... Well, I'm older than you are, and you can't get through the 80s without having seen Rambo.
I've seen many 80s movies. None of them were action movies.
No, Rambo First Blood Part 2 was like... I was actually really kind of horrified by it when I saw it. I think I was a little bit too young for it. Mm-hmm. It was very bloody and brutal, and I didn't really enjoy it very much. I'm sorry, Anthony.
I mean,
our producer looking at us, shaking his head.
I've never seen Rocky.
Okay, I think
know.
we have. Oh my God,
they're just
Anthony's head just turned around completely. How could you not have seen any of the Rockies?
I'm sorry. I'm saying
any of the Rockies.
Those were not my kind of 80s movies. My 80s movies all involve children, like. Don't Tell Mom and Babysitter's Dead. That's a 90s movie. Adventures in Babysitting. I
did love Adventures in Babysitting, but I mean, come on, Rocky.
The Goonies.
Any of the Mr. T. I mean, that was Rocky 3, right? Okay,
no.
And and even
Ivan
Drago, Rocky 4.
When I was a kid,
no,
those movies were always on, like WPIX here in New York, and no.
Okay. Well, anyway, so they're making a TV series about this,
about Rambo,
and it'll be on network TV. It'll be on Fox, which automatically like sort of raises my hackles. I think something interesting could be done, but I'm concerned that okay, so it's going to be like procedural where he and his son, or just his son. Goes to different places and sort
how
of
much
18 style solves problems. Well, I think actually that might feed into like this sort of cultural zeitgeist, this that we have going on here right now, where it's like, let's take back America, let's protect America. I don't know. We don't really have a whole lot like that on television right now. So
I won't be watching.
I probably will not be watching. Well, I'll probably watch the pilot.
Oh, wow.
But I think it might do well. And it'll be interesting if Sylvester Stallone comes back for this. It's unclear. He could be doing sort of like a Bradley Cooper Limitless thing where he'll like pop up every once in a while to sort of goose the ratings, maybe.
I know I'm behind on Limitless, but we've seen Bradley Cooper one time.
Okay.
Like, up to the point where I am. We've seen the same scene replayed at least 2 times. But Bradley Cooper is not on Limitless, let's be clear. All right, so big news in streaming TV. Amazon has announced The Trial, a new drama from my absolute favorite producer of all time. Convinced me to go to graduate school because I thought I could be him, David E. Kelley.
Seriously?
Absolutely. I wanted to be a TV producer because of David E. Kelley. I loved all of his shows, The Practice, even back to, now I'm not going to remember the name of the show, but where it had like little Zelda from Teen Witch, and she was like the secretary, and Tom Skerritt.
Oh, Picket Fences.
Picket Fences.
I'm sorry, I didn't get
Thank
the Sabrina
you.
reference. I apologize.
Zelda.
Yeah, Picket Fences was great.
Yes, that was an awesome show, and like I said, The Practice and Ally McBeal. So anyway, the new drama stars Emmy-nominated Billy Bob Thornton and will go straight to series for a 10-episode order. The cast also includes William Hurt, Maria Bello, and Molly Parker in what is said to be the ultimate David versus Goliath battle fought in the 21st century American legal system.
I don't know.
I'm in.
I mean, great cast.
Yes.
The fact that it's on, Amazon means that maybe... I mean, I think that David E. Kelley has his moments.
Mm-hmm.
I think he does do quirk very well. I think sometimes it goes too far into cheese.
No, but that's the beauty.
I don't like
of a
it.
David E. Kelley show.
And I think the quirk becomes sort of like entrenched and becomes boring.
No, he before he passed, Robin Williams was on that
Crazy
comedy,
Ones.
Crazy Ones. I love that show. I thought it was really funny. Another David E. Kelley production.
I don't know. I mean, I love Billy Bob Thornton. I love him in his intenser moments, although he was great in Bad Santa too. But like we're talking Fargo, Monsters Ball, Sling Blade.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's going to be a show like that where you see Billy Bob like really doing Billy Bob, this great cast, okay, I'll check it out. Mm-hmm. But David E. Kelley is not somebody who rings my bells.
Oh, fine. So. Well, then we will agree to disagree. Okay. And just quickly in pickup news, Supergirl, full season.
Not surprising.
I'm still watching. Are you watching?
I think I'm an episode behind.
Oh,
two
yeah.
episodes behind.
I'm 2 episodes behind too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they did a weird Thanksgiving episode the week before Thanksgiving because of the attacks in Paris. But that's the episode that I'm on.
I got very confused by that. So.
I looked at my DVR and I was like, why is the Thanksgiving episode before that week of Thanksgiving? That confused me as well, but I'm back on track. So Vicki, one of the hardest nights for a TV watcher is Sunday night.
Sunday nights. I mean, I have a very, very wonderful strategy that unfortunately anybody who's not a TV critic cannot partake of, which is that I get these episodes early, and so I spend Sunday mornings watching The Leftovers and The Affair and Homeland if I can, and then I save Sunday nights for stuff I don't get screeners for, which is like Quantico and The Walking Dead.
That's unfair.
It is unfair, but I have to say, can I just say that this past Sunday, not only did I watch Leftovers and Homeland and Quantico and The Walking Dead, I also watched 2 episodes of Amazon's Man in the High Castle, which I finished last night.
Okay.
Awesome. I watched 2 episodes of Jessica Jones, almost done, loving it. I watched 4 episodes of Transparent, which is a screeners because it's starting on December 11th. Mm-hmm. Only half an hour each, but still, I also made turkey stock, did 3 loads of laundry, and went bowling.
This was the whole,
that was Sunday, and I woke up at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow,
yes.
You slept in and did all of that?
Yes,
that's pretty impressive.
I didn't go to bed till 1 o'clock in the morning.
I will tell you something that you should not do if you have not watched the first season of Transparent. Don't watch the pilot episode on a plane full of people because there are lots of naked things.
Were there?
Absolutely.
Okay,
there were boobs.
It was the wedding episode, right?
The pilot episode was before they knew that the father was transgender.
Oh, the first season. Okay, the second season opens up with a wedding. I'm not spoiling it.
No. First season.
It premiered. The first episode of the second season premiered early. Premiered, I think, sometime this week.
Don't watch first season on a plane full of people. Lots of nakedness. But Vicki, it's been a while since we talked about some of the major Sunday night shows: The Affair, Homeland, Leftovers. We'll talk about The Walking Dead.
What do you want to start with?
Oh, please. Can we start with The Affair?
Yes. Which we have discussed. We liked the first season a lot. have not really been enjoying the second
I
season.
didn't like the first season a lot.
You didn't? I really loved the first season. I loved it.
I watched it. I have a hard time watching shows where I dislike most of the characters, and this is one of those. And I don't think that anyone at this point has redeemed themselves.
I think Maura Tierney's character, Helen, goes up and down, in my opinion. I think she is trying. She's trying not to be annoying, and I loved her. In this particular episode, she finally wakes up and starts trying to date again, and comes across this guy who operated on her son,
who's a total douche.
Well, he is. I love what she said. Can I use the word?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. No one's listening.
So she said, so he's kind of mean, but kind of nice. And she's like, are you a nice guy who's pretending to be a dick, or a dick who's pretending to be a nice guy? Which I thought was really classic.
And he didn't
a question that should be asked of every boyfriend.
He didn't understand the difference between the two. And I was like, those are two different things.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I did like that scene. I like that whole thing. Now, the problem is that Noah has become so incredibly unredeemable and just keeps on going further and further out there, where you're just just go away, die.
Well, in this episode,
I'm sorry, just drown yourself.
Vicky's like, while you're in that hurricane, crash into a tree. No, that scene where Noah is high on cocaine.
I'm sorry, but that was the best scene of this entire season so far. Tell it, preach it.
He's at a party.
Tell us what happened.
He's high on cocaine. He sees all of these people all swimming in the pool. They're all naked, frolicking. And he decides, I'm going to jump in this pool.
Takes off his clothes, presumably.
Takes off his clothes. He's naked, and he's sitting there, and he sees these two hot girls making out. And in his cocaine haze,
walks over, sits down, gives him this sort of wolfish smile.
And then he realizes one of the young ladies is his daughter.
Oh my God.
Ew.
But she turns around, and Whitney is a terribly annoying character. She just starts screaming,
"Dad, get out! Get out now!" But the best part about it is that since he is high, he's a little slow on the reaction. Yeah. So even after she turned around, it took him a second to even realize that he's staring at his daughter like a lecherous old man.
Well, he's sitting there naked.
Oh my God, it's so disturbing.
Which gave him the wake up call he needed.
Allegedly.
Yeah. And so I guess we're gonna start seeing him.
He's going to go to therapy, and I think we have a clip. Let's take a listen.
You were attracted to other people during your 20 years with Helen.
You say that like it's a fact.
Oh. Then you weren't.
Well, of course I was.
And did you ever act on it?
No. You know that. I was faithful, except for Allison.
Then why are you so afraid you would act on it now?
Because it's different.
Because of Allison. Because you've already done it once. This is not uncommon in people whose relationships began as affairs. This fear that because you've strayed once, you might do it again.
I almost did.
You almost had sex with Lucy?
No, not with Lucy. With my publicist, Eden. That goddamn night of the hurricane. The one we've been over and over and over. I left things out.
Hello.
So we're supposed to feel bad for Noah again because he can't help himself?
He's so delusional.
Oh my God, he's the worst.
The part that we left out before he saw his daughter naked making out with someone in the hot tub is that he was waiting the 15 minutes that his publicist Eden, I guess.
Eden.
How apropos. That his publicist Eden had told him to wait before they would hook up. In an upstairs
because now
bedroom.
The tour's over and now she can mix business and pleasure.
Right. So it's and what is he talking about? I've never been unfaithful except for with Allison. Yep, that counts.
Yes.
That counts. No.
Yes.
He's so unlikable.
I don't want to watch it anymore because it's just really unpleasant. And they have this overlay of this trial that pops in and out about did Noah kill Scotty, who is Cole's brother?
Right.
Which, they don't give you enough of so that when they do give it to you, you're like, what's going on here? What time is it?
Right.
It's just, I think it's very poorly plotted and structured, and you can't have both of those things with an incredibly unlikable main character.
I agree completely. And I think that some of the things that we've learned this season are that Allison's baby may not be Noah's.
No,
we assume it's not Noah's.
Probably Cole's.
It's probably Cole's,
once.
but I swear at some point they alluded to that it may be Scotty's.
No, I think I think
weird.
that was just Oscar, because he doesn't know the background. Oscar just assuming, it's with Scotty, because he doesn't know what's going on there.
Okay.
So I think people are supposed to infer that it's actually Cole's.
Oh, it's Cole's. Yes. So I think.
And of course, Cole's family has a terror. Oh, and then Cole, who I don't really like as a character very much, very morose, mopey. Okay, fine, I'm over it. And then his girlfriend says, "Oh, by the way, I can't get pregnant. I can't ever give you kids." And he makes it all about him. Thank you,
I
Cole.
mean, these characters are ridiculous. Okay. So we'll see what happens on the affair. Now let's switch over to HBO and The Leftovers,
which is my favorite show of the year.
Really?
Yes, it is my number one show of the year.
Huh.
I think it is. I liked it last season.
Mm-hmm, me too.
I think that this season, the sort of reboot that they gave it, moving them all and sort of giving it more of a plot, was it was really smart. It feels really fresh. It feels like they're saying something that you don't normally see on television, the nature of belief, the nature of faith, how do you fill like emptiness in the world? And they're doing it by creating like a new universe, new rules, which makes it so you it's not like, the guy behind this is Damon Lindelof from Lost, who gets a lot of complaints about raising questions, not answering them. But in this universe,
that is my complaint.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but in this universe, there are no answers, and that is the point of this show. There are no answers to how do you live your life without knowing, without having a footing, without having a real footing. How do you go forward?
I need answers, Vicki. I do feel like we
did get one really major answer.
A major answer this week, and we have a clip of that.
I can't get over it.
What?
Well, seeing you here in Texas, it's pretty amazing, don't you think?
Not really. I mean, if we were just anywhere, it would be a coincidence, but we're here in Miracle. I think we both came here for the same reason.
What reason's that?
Because this place is safe.
Now that you've left the remnant.
Exactly. It was really hard to get away, because they're everywhere. I started to think to myself, there must be somewhere that the guilty remnant wouldn't work,
Wouldn't work?
Right, because in order to get someone to join them, that person needs to be in pain. And the people on the other side of that bridge, Matt, they were spared.
So basically, what she's saying is, and that's Meg talking to Matt, the Reverend. She's basically saying that Jarden, which is within Miracle, which is the national park, served. Okay, now inside joke. That Jarden has been spared from the pain. And Meg is still part of Guilty Remnant, although she is breaking all kinds of rules.
Yes.
She's doing whatever the heck she wants to do. And now Jarden has to feel pain, and we know that at the beginning of this season, Evie, is that her name? Evie, right. I can't get anyone's name right today.
You can't.
That Evie, who's the daughter of Regina King's character,
Erica,
went missing.
Mm-hmm. In a very disappeared, sudden departure kind of way.
Very disappeared, sudden departure kind of way.
Kevin Garvey may or may not have been, well, he's not involved, and we're pretty sure now.
Or should we call him Kevin Harvey?
Yes, Kevin Harvey. Dream sequence. Purgatory.
Yeah, in a hotel. So she went missing, so now Jarden is feeling the pain that everyone else has felt, and we find out.
And they're going to feel a lot more pain, apparently, if Meg has her way.
Yeah, because Meg's crazy.
She's nuts.
Oh, they're all crazy, Vicki. Yeah. That at the end of the episode, we find out that Evie and her two friends from childhood are actually not departed at all. They weren't even kidnapped. No,
and they seem to be part of the guilty remnant.
Part of the guilty remnant.
Yes. Which you didn't see very much of Evie, but you knew there was they knew there were deep waters there. There was something going on with her, and now it's I don't know how long this has been planned, but we did see a kind of confusing moment sort of in the middle of the episode where Meg goes to Jarden for the first time before she went crazy and joined the Guilty Remnant, and she meets Evie for the first time.
Right.
Which you're like, okay, when is this happening? And then you figure out, okay, so she got back in touch with Evie, convinced her to join the Guilty Remnant, whatever happened, and then they staged the sudden departure.
And now you're kind of picking up on hints that they've been giving you throughout the season. Like there was at one point where Evie told a joke to her father that he didn't really get. And then we see in this past episode that is the joke Meg
that's right.
told to Evie. So you can just pick up on some of those threads. What's the point?
I love that joke.
So we're heading into the finale of The Leftovers.
I'm so excited. I have an advanced screener. I actually squealed in the office when
already
HBO.
Have you watched it?
I haven't watched it yet because last night I finished Man in the High Castle.
Got it.
And watched another episode of Jessica Jones. Maybe tonight. I'm behind on Fargo.
Oh, Vicki,
That's
we're going to have
terrible.
so much TV. What is one to do? Well, you do have one less show to worry about on Sunday nights until like April, and that would be The Walking Dead.
Yes.
A show that I don't watch, but producer Anthony watches it.
Yes. Vicki and I are a little torn, I think.
Yes. I think you're more torn than I am.
Well, didn't you guys find out like last week that your guy Glenn was not dead?
He was not dead.
He hid it under a dumpster or something.
And I've been saying that all along. We didn't Periscope about this week to the chagrin of tens of people.
Yes.
But
a good 30 people.
But there's a lot to discuss, I think. But I do feel it was kind of like an uneven season. It was manipulative, as they always are.
No, this is much cheaper. This is deliberately cheap. If you are the number one show on television, you don't need to be doing BS like what they did with Glenn.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha.
I mean, to the point where they were actively. I mean, like it's one thing to be like, okay, it's a cliffhanger, but it's one thing to be actively dickish, because now I can say that word, about it by taking his name out of the credits and Scott Gimple, sending that note to the Talking Dead saying, oh, we don't know if we're going to see Glenn again. Just let it, if you think it's a smart storytelling choice, and just let it live on its own without feeding into it outside the show. Cheap.
I agree. I think you can't toy with the audience's trust when it comes to beloved characters like that. And Glenn was completely beloved. Take it from me, Erin. To the point where I was watching that one scene with my kid, and he looked at me like he couldn't believe it.
With your son?
Yeah.
With your how old your son watches The
Believe
Walking
me, he's
Dead?
been watching zombie movies a long time. He loves the lore. But yeah, and he couldn't believe. And I'm just angry at this point.
Well, I think I made this point once before, maybe on a Periscope, that another issue I have is that by pretending to kill Glenn makes people think it's okay to talk about the comic books and the very important way, spoiler alert, turn it off if you don't want to hear it, the very iconic way that Glenn dies in the comic books, and he's killed by a certain character who now is
coming.
And so it kind of if they're planning on doing the same thing, it kind of ruins that movement because everybody knows about it.
It's going to cheapen the moment when it does happen, because then it's just going to be another, is it a gotcha moment? So, I mean, I don't want to harp on Glenn too much. I mean, but that was the big thing of the season.
So this was the mid-season finale, right?
This was the mid-season finale.
It was the mid-season finale you spoke about this last week, which I hate.
I hate it
mid-season
too.
finales.
Vicky likes them.
It's because Vicki watches everything under the sun, and she needs a break from time to time.
I watch everything under the sun, and I really hate them. Did you anything else on the Walking Dead?
Well, just the next part of the season is not going to be like this one, where basically all the action took place over the course of 2 days, which I liked.
How many episodes?
There were 8 episodes.
8 episodes.
Wow.
And it's sort of like the first. It kept shifting, sort of like this group was here, this group was here, this group was here. At the end, the zombies basically break through the wall in this safe community that they've managed to find themselves. And I know from reading other stories that they're going to probably stay in there and eventually clean up the zombies. But there's this new villain who's coming, played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who we've mentioned before, which I'm looking forward to seeing. Although I feel that his his big moment has already been ruined. The other thing that always annoyed me, they managed to sort of escape from the hordes of zombies by spreading themselves with zombie guts in their zombie ponchos and walking amongst the zombies. And I always say, why don't you do this all the time?
Well, they don't cover their faces or heads with zombie guts.
Now they did it, which I thought was stupid also, because your hair gives off a lot of scent, people. That's just so ridiculous. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's the only other thing I have to say about The Walking Dead.
Hello, zombie killers. You should be doing more.
Yeah.
We were going to talk about Homeland, but since we're both kind of met on this season, I say we move on.
Okay.
Let's talk about Quantico instead. Another show that we met on, but we love to talk about.
You know, I've come to my peace with Quantico. I'm just enjoying it for what it is, and I am still enjoying it.
What?
I kind of like know that it's trash. I'm sorry. It's gotten to be kind of trashy.
Is it a show you love to hate?
No, it's not a show I love to hate.
Watching it.
I'm not hate watching it. I'm watching it like I watch like a lot of the Shondaland shows.
No,
I am.
Yeah, but
it is a Shondaland show.
But the difference is that Shondaland shows, in the majority of the time, actually make sense. Quantico does not make any sense.
Scandal.
Let's not go backwards. Let's talk about Quantico. So at this point, do we have any idea who the potential terrorist
the latest
is?
red herring is Simon, who
from the beginning.
For the most ridiculous reason, though. I mean, if they're saying that he is the killer, he is the bomber. We saw him talking to one of his Israeli friends who makes bombs at the end of the episode. They pass some sort of like a blueprint of train station. So okay. But if the reason why he turned is because everybody got mad at him. Okay, there was this weird Anne Heche subplot where she shows up as a profiler.
Right.
And he manages somehow to figure out that she's a profiler who caught a famous
serial killer.
And he figured out that she staged one crime scene and planted evidence so she could actually convict this guy.
Vicki, she did. I thought the twist was going to be that she like killed the people in order to catch the serial killer. She didn't kill anyone. She just staged the crime scene.
She staged a crime
and then
scene.
she caught the serial killer, and for that she was ready to murder Simon like in a public
which I thought was hysterical. By the way, so she basically hustles Simon out of the building, and anybody would think, oh, they're going to go for a booty call or something.
Right.
And of course, Ryan is so what bro is going to see some guy leave him with a hot chick and be like, ooh, that looks a little hinky to me. I'm sorry.
I know the term for that, but I will not use it on the show since we've already used DICK.
Okay.
Okay.
So anyway, so the little twist at the end was that she thinks she's going to get away with it, and he ends up reporting her, and then all the other Nats turn on him and saying, "Oh, I can't believe you turned on her. Now the guy's going to be set free." And that's terrible. We're supposed to be locking people up, and it's like, I'm sorry.
This show's
really.
ridiculous.
Really, you're going to get mad at him for this?
At this point, can they just tell me?
And
who
this
the
is going to
bomber
be.
is?
I'm sorry. And this is going to be enough for him to become a mad bomber.
I don't. If it turns out
it's not him.
If it turns out that the bomber is someone that we have not met yet, I'm going to be really annoyed.
It's going to be really bogus. Apparently, we're going to find out next week who it is.
Oh, we are?
Yes.
Oh, I must have missed that in the preview. Well, good, because I
think I read that in an interview with the
I can't take it any longer. Okay. Something that will not air on Sunday, but is airing tomorrow. We tape this podcast on Wednesdays, and tomorrow, December 3rd, The Wiz Live will finally premiere on NBC.
No, I have to break it. Ease on down the road. I want to hear it.
Ease on down the road.
I want more soul there.
Come on in.
There you go.
Ease on down the road.
You grew up in this area,
right? Don't you carry nothing at your feet.
Well, no, that might be a load.
Damn it. I was close.
Anyway, you could not have missed that commercial or that song if you're growing up in this area.
No.
In the 70s and 80s.
I have never seen the stage version, but like I've said, I've seen the movie, and I really enjoyed it. I don't know why people
The movie
like
is
it.
nuts. I'm sorry.
Whatever.
The movie is terrible.
Whatever. But we've talked about The Wiz, and now it's time to talk about Grease Live, which is the Fox musical premiering at the end of January. They've been hyping it up a lot in recent weeks, I think, to capitalize on some of the buzz around The Wiz. Grease Live stars Julianne Hough. That's how you say her name, right? She is a judge on Dancing with the Stars. She is also a dancer, and she's playing Sandy. And Erin, how do you say his last name?
I don't know.
Is it Vet?
I have no idea.
Tvet? I don't know. He was in Graceland.
I had to IMDb him. I have no idea.
And he's playing Danny Zuko. And also on the show will be Vanessa Hudgens, Keke Palmer, Carlos Penavega, who's also on this season of Dancing with the Stars. And Jessie J will open the show with a live performance of Grease's Word, I believe.
Oh, that should be interesting.
It'll be something.
I'm kind of interested in this one. The Wiz, I'm interested more for the spectacle. not so familiar with the musical, and that doesn't make me, I'm sorry, I'm not really invested in this particular musical.
Right.
But Grease, I'm very invested in.
Me too. It's my favorite musical of all time.
Really?
My favorite movie of all time is
Yeah, I mean,
Grease.
I've watched it so many times. I had the soundtrack growing up, the
Me
record.
too.
So I'm really interested in this one.
I'm very excited, but see, this is the thing. Like I said, Grease is my favorite movie of all time, and it's only Annie is second. I love musicals, but I'm worried that I love it so much that I'm really going to hate this.
Well, do you love the property or do you love the movie? Because if you just love the property, then it'll be okay to see it if you just love the movie,
but what if
then
they
that's going
don't
to be a
sing
problem.
the songs as well, and the staging is not? Now, the movie and the musical are different.
Mm-hmm.
They're not exactly the same, and I've seen both. But I just, I don't know. There's nothing like Travolta, and
Well, there's also nothing like Julie Andrews. And they still did Sound of Music.
and it wasn't that great.
I know.
You hear what I'm saying? It wasn't that great. My one thing about Grease is when you watch Grease as a child, it's one thing. When you watch Grease as a adolescent or an adult, it is so heavy on the sex.
Yes, it is. That you
In
just
the
totally
innuendo.
miss when you're a kid.
When you're a kid, you don't get it at all. But Grease Lightning, let me tell you something, people.
Yes.
That is a dirty song.
That is a dirty song.
And it even has the P word in it. P-U-S.
Okay.
That word.
Oh, yes, it does.
Yes, it does. She's a real P wagon.
Yes.
Is the lyric. How are they going to pull this off in like prime time?
I hadn't thought about that. I'm sorry.
There's I mean, even the
He's a real chick mag. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. I can't wait. So Vicki, we've been holding this segment for a while, and I think it's finally time that we discuss our mutual love for HGTV.
All design shows, really.
Any channel.
Yes, any channel. Because this all started off. My obsession with home design shows started off on TLC of all places with Trading Spaces.
Trading Spaces,
which I was obsessed with.
Me too.
Obsessed with in the late '90s and early 2000s.
And that was
right?
around the time where Queer Eye was also on, like Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. So
and
those
my only
two.
episode I liked was the only part of that was a Tom Felicia part,
because that's the home decoration.
That's the home decoration one. Yeah.
Trading Spaces, for those of you that don't remember, it was a show where two sets of neighbors trade houses and redesign a room in the other person's home
with the help of one of their staff designers who varied widely from like Frank, who was like the grandma, the country, Holly Hobby kind of stuff, to Hildy, who was kind of nuts, to Doug, who was really nuts.
And you had no choice of designers. Like, you just got them assigned to you. And it was
everybody wanted Vern, because Vern is awesome.
Vern was awesome.
Or Lori or Genevieve, sorry.
Genevieve was
all
Genevieve Gorder. Yeah. And then the host was Paige.
Of course, there was a different host the very first season, Alex, who went away. Alex McLeod, I think.
Oh, I don't even remember.
Yeah, but then there was Paige, and then they got rid of Paige, which was shocking.
And then it went downhill.
I think they brought Paige back
because Paige was like the
yes.
glue that held everything together. While we're talking about Trading Spaces, Vicki, there was one episode that really stands out in my mind, where the homeowners just did not like the design.
Can you guess what it is, people?
Yes, let's take a listen.
We are in the room. Okay. Open your eyes and see your new family room.
Wow.
Well, I really like the wainscoting.
You do?
I really do.
She's trying so hard.
Awkward.
And the furniture needed slipcovers.
Yeah, that's denim.
Denim slipcovers.
The big question is, what do you think about the fireplace?
I think they're
you guys
brown
are
denim.
Be fixing that in a little bit. So,
yeah, well, I just see a lot of firewood.
So, I'm gonna have to leave the room now.
You're that disappointed?
Well, I'm gonna have to.
I'm gonna have to leave the room now. But wait, we want to hear the
she's not
sobbing.
happy.
Yes,
she's really not happy.
Is there anything that you can see in the room to fix certain elements of it to make it better for the two of you?
I don't even know where to start.
Vicki. We are terrible people,
She's
first of all.
sobbing
We
in
are
the
terrible
background.
people. Oh my God, poor. That was Crying Pam, known forever as Crying Pam from Seattle.
I
Pam,
remember-
if you're out there, I'm sorry that we're laughing at you, but
Pam,
it was
I hope you got over it.
But it was such a moment. I mean, I think this gets overlooked in like the annals of reality show history, but this was a real moment, people.
She was devastated.
She was devastated, and a lot of the times when people don't like their what's being done, they put on an act and act
Right.
all outraged, and they know whatever.
Right.
Okay, but this was real. This woman did not want her fairly ugly brick fireplace covered.
Ugly,
and they covered it.
The design itself, I will say, they used a poop brown.
They did use a poop brown, but it was actually a nice looking room.
But I thought it was better than it was.
Yeah.
Pam. We need a Where Are They Now on Pam. That's what we need, a Where Are They Now Trading Spaces.
Well, I don't know if there are that many other people who remember.
It doesn't
any
matter.
people who
I just want to know if
participated.
people have changed the room since
Oh,
then.
of course they have.
Because
do you remember the hay room? It took them like $15,000 to remove the hay.
It's crazy. That show is so good. But my favorite show currently on HGTV is House Hunters Renovations.
Okay, which I know I am a huge House Hunters fan myself. House Hunters Renovations, for all of you, it doesn't come on that often. It's an hour-long show, so it takes much longer to produce than House Hunters. It only comes on like once a week, right?
Yeah, it comes on like once or twice
So
a
it's
week.
not like you could just, what am I going to watch tonight? Which me, if I don't have like my 10 million shows to watch, given my druthers, I will sit there and watch House Hunters or House Hunters
Absolutely.
International. I just love this show.
But I will watch almost any show on HGTV. The only show that I dislike is the one with like the husband and wife and they redesign houses in Texas.
Oh, I love that show. I think they do really good work.
One.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're annoying.
Well, can I just say, when you look back at the Trading Spaces rooms and you look to see what they do today on HGTV, it's totally different. I mean, that the quality has gone way up. There's actually been a whole transformation of HGTV. I mean, that was on TLC.
Right.
HGTV, back in the day was doing these sort of like lame half-hour shows, a lot of crafting. I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was a show called Designers Challenge where you had a client and three designers pitched, this is how the room should be. They never actually did the work. But guess who was it hosted by? Who was it hosted by? Chris Harrison.
No.
Yes, absolutely. That's how I know.
Bachelor
Yes,
host,
the
Chris
Bachelor host.
Harrison.
Yeah. Oh, and there was Design on a Dime, which was
Dime.
just sort of like cheapy shows.
Right.
And now they put real people. I don't know who puts this money towards it, but there's real money going towards these renovations.
Well, I think they want you to believe that the homeowners are putting money towards it because I watch shows like Property Brothers, and these people are always like, "Yeah, I have $50,000 or $60,000 to go toward the renovation," and then they're putting in like hardwood floors throughout, marble countertops. I'm like, you're already over budget. There's no way that you actually.
Well, I mean,
pay
I
for
have
all
to think
this.
that maybe they get the labor for free and they're buying the materials.
Maybe.
That's how they.
Or
they
there's some
handle
sort
it.
of sponsorship going on.
Yeah.
But for those of you who are fans of HGTV, I just want to end this segment by spoiling something for you if you don't know. House Hunters, our favorite show, the house is pre-selected.
You don't think they know that? Hasn't that
No,
been common
I don't
knowledge for
think
a long
I
time?
don't think a lot of people know that, Vicki.
Well, I actually discovered this when I was down in Raleigh, and they were doing a spate of House Hunter shows there, and like one of the realtors gave me oh, this is actually what happened. They bought the house; it's already in contract, or
Right.
they've already bought it, and they just go look at two other houses.
Right.
And I was shocked then, but that was like 10 years ago.
But when I found out, I was absolutely floored. I was like, what?
Yeah.
They're lying to me. Like, these people are pretty good actors. They go in and they're like, oh, I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't know if we can do this.
Well,
I believe it.
I mean, what I love about House Hunters, and we have to talk about just a little tiny more, like the beauty of House Hunters is that, I mean, I like looking at how other people live.
Me too.
I like looking at, interesting design. I like the international aspect because they do live very differently overseas.
Yes.
But I just love that it really allows me to be very, very judgmental. And so not only am I allowed to be like, no, you picked the wrong house. That is the wrong house.
Yes.
But I also love judging the people who are judging the houses because they're like, oh, well, I can't live with a room that's baby pink. Like, well, you paint it.
It's
idiot.
very.
I can't live without double sinks. It's like, well, try it for a week. You'll find that you really can live without double sinks.
It's very Teresa Giudice when she's like, I can't live in someone else's house.
I can't live in a used house.
Yes, in the used house. Totally.
Yeah, I just want to smack them. Oh my God.
I agree with you. I do like it for the voyeuristic aspect. I like to see what other people's houses look like.
I like being all judgy.
I like to see how much they cost.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorite things. I really like Property Brothers because you get the negotiations included. Like, oh, well, they offered so and so. Well, they counter offered this.
But knowing what you know about House Hunters, you know that's all BS. And it's like,
no, I don't think
sometimes I feel, well, then how come they always get the house they want?
That's true.
Sometimes I feel that show should be half an hour.
Untrue. I have seen an episode of Property Brothers where they did not get the house.
And they had to go for another house.
Had to go out and look for more houses. And that cut in on the time that they had for renovations.
Sometimes I tend to fast forward through that. Well, and just, I like just watching the renovations because they do great work.
Well, the other thing about HGTV that some people may not know is that the reason why you don't know the town that they're in is because they're in Canada.
Well, you could tell because they say "out" a lot.
It's when the homeowners say certain words, you're like, "Oh, you're Canadian." So, Vicki, that's going to do it for today's show. Lots of things I
have more to say about HGTV.
We can talk about it again.
Okay.
I need to talk about Flip or Flop because that's one where I have some feedback on their questionable design choices.
Mine is what's the one with the buy or sell? What's that one? Love It or List It.
Oh, Love It
which drives me insane, drives me to distraction.
Love It or List It 2.
Love It or List It, the one in Vancouver, which isn't nearly as annoying, I have to say, because anyway.
All right, well, for another day, we will come back to HGTV. We just want to remind you to follow us on Twitter at TV Hangover Show and subscribe and review our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Spreaker. We're everywhere you are, as they like to say. That's going to do it for us. Until next time.